Hi, and welcome to Positive Pets. I'm Melissa, but you can call me MJ, and I'm here with Tim.
Hi, I'm Tim.
And welcome back. So tonight we're talking about dogs living in the city and some of the challenges of living with dogs in apartments and in the city in general, and how you can work through these challenges and train your dog to be happy and get a lot of exercise and enrichment while living in the city.
I'm gonna just ask you to move your microphone just to the side a little bit so we can see your face. No, a little bit more to the
This way?
Move it that way, and then
All right.
There you go. That way, there people can see you.
All right.
And then it'll be a much better show if they can actually see your face. So yeah, dogs living in the city. I mean, it's something I don't think a lot of people think of. They want to get a dog, and they think to themselves, hey, I've got the time to walk them.
Right.
But they don't take into account that, where they live, especially if you live on, a third floor or something.
Right, exactly. And it's really hard if you're getting a new puppy and you live in a third floor or a higher floor. How are you going to do the potty training? Because when they have to go, how are you going to get them outside? So that's one of the challenges. What I usually recommend is if you start on potty pads or grass mats, those are really popular now. Like you can have the grass actually shipped to you. It's kind of cool. So if you start that way, make sure you have a plan to train out of that, because you don't want to get stuck using that method either, because that can be a problem as the dog gets bigger.
I do think, though, that with living, when you should be kind of buying the dog for where you live to some.
Yeah, definitely. If you can plan ahead, like if you know you're planning to move to the city for whatever reason and you want to get a dog, you could probably wait, maybe get the dog sooner and start training and get ready for that move. I mean, if you have any way to plan ahead or anyone who can help you with that, that's excellent. That's definitely ideal. Other than that, I would say just taking the dog out constantly when they're a puppy. So don't wait until they're about to have an accident and you have to like run to the elevator and, get downstairs. Instead, take them out on the hour and just make sure that they don't ever get to that point.
Well, also, too, it's probably beneficial to, if you live in a small apartment in the city, don't go out and buy a St. Bernard.
Right, yeah. I mean, some of the big dogs, they can be laid back and it works just fine having them in an apartment, but you have to take in consideration like how much room do you actually have, and how much room in the bed is the dog going to take up.
And aren't there some dogs too where they have a tendency to have leg issues as they get older and hip problems?
Yeah,
and
that's a really good point. As they get older, how are you going to get them up flights of stairs? I mean, no matter where you live, if that's something that you feel like you don't physically want to have to deal with when they get older, then that's something to plan for. Maybe get a medium-sized dog or a smaller dog.
What are some other issues that can come into play with, just having a dog that is, if you're on a high up window, high up third floor, they're probably not getting the chance to look out the window like a first floor dog would.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. Just letting them be able to like see different scenery. So no matter what, if you have a dog in an apartment, you want to make sure you're getting them out a lot. And don't plan for just walks, because that's a great way to exercise your dog. But what happens when it's 90 degrees out and the pavement's hot and you can't walk your dog? So you have to have a lot of plans of different types of enrichment that you can provide the dog with, which might be things like scent games, hiding food around for them. I do that with my dogs a few times a week. Like I make them find their food in the yard. This sounds really weird, but they work for it instead of just getting their food for free. So that tires them out, and just different things to really exercise them. Trick training can be really fun.
Is there the, when having to deal with trying to create games for them, is there a chance that they'll find it boring, that it'll get repetitious if you keep doing, if you find something that works and you keep doing the same game over and over again?
Yeah, you definitely have to be creative. So try to put a different spin on whatever you're doing with your dog every day. So have a lot of different ideas ahead of time, definitely. And
I think too that with, city living, part of it is that you want to be able to get out and show off your dog.
Yeah.
Like what's the point of having a cool dog if everybody doesn't know that you have a cool dog?
Yeah.
So that gives you the chance to kind of walk around and maybe go to the new dog park. And one of the stories that I heard from people going to the dog park already is that they're finding like dog parent friends.
Yeah, it's
and setting
really
up dog
fun
play
to
dates.
socialize. As you know, we socialize our dogs, but we want to socialize too. So it's great to meet other dog owners and find play groups that they fit into, and even do things like, I don't know, maybe doggy play dates, socialization just in general.
That's, I guess, if you live somewhere where, you know, your dog is the only dog that you're seeing, then you might not realize that there's other people. And when you go in there too, the way that dog park is set up in New Bedford is that you have two separate dog parks next to each other, where one's for larger dogs and one's for smaller dogs.
Yeah.
So you're meeting people probably that have maybe the same breed dog or the same size dog. So it's not a big deal if you want to have them get together and play together.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. Definitely.
Although, you know, it's only been a couple of weeks, so you don't really know the people yet.
They're getting there.
Yeah. Give them a few more weeks before you start inviting them over the house.
Yeah.
And, you know, you don't really know them. Just because they had $25 to sign up for the membership doesn't mean that means that they're totally okay. So what are some of the other things that would be a challenge with having a city dog? I would assume that, like you said, you know, getting them trained on a schedule so you're not going up and down the stairs 100 times a day.
Right.
But there's that curiosity factor too of everything's gonna be heightened in a city. You know, you're gonna have more cars going by, more sirens, more people knocking at other doors.
Exactly. Yeah, noise within your building is really big. So if the dog's going to react to everybody going up the stairs and knocking, that's going to be a problem. Your landlord won't be too happy with that when he's getting, you know, he or she is getting calls about your dog barking all the time. So there's definitely ways you can train your dog not to react to those noises. And that, I mean, it takes work. If you have a dog that this is already a habit for them and they've already been doing this, it's going to be a little bit harder than starting fresh if you have a new puppy and you're training them not to bark at noises. So the big thing is, if you are moving into an apartment or you already live in an apartment and you're getting a new dog, make sure you start off with building those habits that you want right from the beginning. And if you already have a dog that reacts to noises, don't worry, you can definitely help them learn how to be more calm around different noises over time. And to do that, what we'll do is we'll actually, I think we talked about this with the recordings of clippers before, but it's kind of the same idea. We'll take recordings of different noises and we can play it at a volume that's under the dog's threshold where they don't react. And then we just kind of build up to the real life sounds. So over time, they just learn to be calm.
Because I think it's always funny, like when somebody in my family, we used to always go with my family every year on July 3rd. My family's from Randolph originally. So every year on July 3rd, they have a huge 4th of July parade, and so everybody would get together and it'd be like a family reunion to meet up for the parade. And whenever anybody got a new dog, inevitably they'd always want to bring them to the parade to show off.
Oh no.
And then they would freak out because the dog would get so
really
upset
scary.
with sirens and marching bands and all that.
Yeah.
And that's like what you have living in a city all the time.
Right.
You know, you have
and
all
their
that
hearing
stuff.
is really sensitive. So what we're hearing, they're hearing that at even, you know, louder rates than we are. So yeah, definitely planning for that ahead of time. The other thing is, when you're in a dog-friendly apartment, I mean, we could be talking about just like a 3-tenant apartment or much larger buildings. You're going to have other dogs there. So you got to think there's only so many pet-friendly apartments in each city. So all the dog owners are going to be in those apartments. They're going to probably be more, maybe even more dog owners than non-dog owners. So you go outside your door, you're most likely encountering other dogs and other people. So planning to train your dog for that ahead of time so they're not reacting to other dogs, and you can pass nicely in the hallways and not have any issues there is important as well.
What about fleas? Does it make you more susceptible if another dog in the building gets them?
I mean, dogs can get fleas from anywhere. They can get it from the grass. They can get it from another animal. So take the same precautions you would take, you know, in any situation.
Well, maybe some people have some questions if they want to call in. You want to give them the numbers to call in?
Yeah, 508-996-0500 if you want to call in.
You didn't even look at the board.
I memorized it.
You've memorized the number.
Yeah, of course I did. I also have a question for our audience tonight. I asked this in class, and maybe somebody has some answers for me. If your dog had a superpower, what would it be? Do you have an answer?
You say stupor power?
Superpower.
Oh, okay. For my dog, it would probably be, well, she's smart when she needs to be.
Yeah. And I guess if your dog picks the power versus like if you pick the power, because it's going to be totally different.
I don't know. I don't know if my dog would have any.
Do you want to know my dogs?
Sure.
Okay, Yuri, my Cocker Spaniel, he would be able to go invisible, so he could just like eat everything. I think your dog would probably relate to that. She would fit into the invisible category.
Yeah, she does eat a lot.
And then my Shih Tzu, laser eyes. Just
like literally coming out of her eyes.
Laser eyes.
So, like.
When he gets a haircut, he
like
has...
for vision or for like harming people?
Not harming, maybe just like mind control. I don't know, like feed me.
Okay. But not like, you know, lasers that come out and like cut people in half when he looks at them.
No, not that kind of laser. I don't know. I have to talk to him.
Because I'd be worried about that. I'd be more worried for the other dog.
It's really funny when I trim like his visor, he looks so different when his hair's starting to go over his eyes, and then I trim his visor. I'm like, whoa, laser eyes.
What's a visor?
Well, you know, just the hair that's falling in front of his eyes.
Oh. So
you could call like bangs or a fringe. You could call it a fringe.
Well, that's a very good question, and if anybody wants to call in and answer it, I wonder what kind of answers we will get. You know, somebody's gonna be like, my dog's superpower is taking a crap everywhere. Which isn't really a superpower.
That's not a superpower. Yeah. That's a stinky power.
But if it was a human power, yeah, that'd be even more concerning.
It would be very concerning.
But also, too, when talking about city dogs, you know, you really gotta... It's one thing when you're walking around the neighborhood, if you live in a rural area. Yeah. You know, you know your neighbors for the most part, and people will get to know your dog, and they'll see your dog on a regular basis, and they'll kind of understand your dog and its quirks. But when you're walking around a city, you know, you could encounter people that you've never seen before. Right. And how do you handle when people, you know, 100 people want to come up to you while you're on your walk and talk to your dog? How do you handle both being able to just keep the dog under control, but also making sure that the people are respectful of your dog's boundaries?
Well, that's really important because most people won't listen if you just say, hey, my dog doesn't want to be pet right now, or my dog's nervous. They'll say, it's okay. You know, I'm a dog person. They'll be fine. So you just have to really be like stern about those boundaries and be like, listen, don't touch my dog right now. Or, I mean, you can, of course, invite them to pet your dog when you want them to do that. But also I found if I'm like out with my dog's training, people for some reason they don't bother you if they think you're training. I don't know. So maybe just like pretend you're training and
just bring the clicker and just hold it in your hand. You don't have to use it, but
exactly.
One of the other things that is funny about it is that if you are walking down the street with a newborn baby, you know, people will usually be like, "Oh, right," and might like say, "Oh, how old?" as you walk by.
They don't like try to pick your baby up.
Nobody's picking it up and like nuzzling it and saying, "Oh,"
gosh, I
scratching
hope not.
the baby behind the ears and all that stuff. So, and so many people today think that their dog is a baby. That
I know
is.
I mean, do you think I fit into that category?
No, you seem to. No, I mean, you have a healthy respect for dogs, but you also never act like they're anything beyond just being dogs.
Right. My dogs don't have a carriage. I mean, my rabbits do.
That's a different story.
That's a different story.
You don't want to wait for a rabbit to walk.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
But is it weird that people consider their dogs to be like their kids? Is that like a healthy thing?
I don't know. I mean, no. I think it's fine. As long as you have to have an understanding, like, their behavior is going to be a lot different than... But a lot of people say they're their babies, and I don't want to offend anyone by saying, like, you know...
Well, listen, I will offend people because I don't have anything to lose. I'll offend people. Nobody's coming to my pet shop. But I really hate the term fur babies.
I know.
I'm so sick of it.
You know what? I don't hate the term at all. It just reminds me a lot of, this is why I kind of dislike it. It reminds me of Furbies. Like when I hear
that's true too.
Right?
Yeah, that's true. And
that's a
come
whole
to think of it,
show.
That probably does pop into my head too. But
that's probably why you're conditioned not to like it.
I don't like the term. It just seems odd to me to call them that. Like, it's okay if you want to call them your babies.
Just not fur babies.
Yeah, fur babies doesn't make sense to me. It's just weird.
I don't know. We're going to have to... We should just get a list of like terms together that we can start using and see if maybe you feel better about any of those.
See if we can get them to catch on.
Yeah, hashtag, you know.
Like maybe we can start a new trend of keeping people from calling them fur babies and calling them
I think people
four-legged freak kids. I don't know.
They're not.
Well, if they were actually kids, they would be freaks because they would look like dogs.
So I think that's where your problem with the term comes from. You're like, is it actually a dog or is it just a really furry kid?
I've seen some pretty furry kids in my day. But I worry a little bit when I see people who do go kind of over the top, because it's not necessarily always what the dog wants,
Right.
Not every dog wants to wear an outfit every day or 3 or 4.
What kind of piece of clothing do you think dogs should wear?
There's only one piece of clothing that a dog should wear all the time. And I say it, and Matt Costa, my friend who works here with me, says it. Dogs should wear bandanas, and that's it.
I think we need a poll. We're going to have to start one of those.
I will.
What about the little dogs when it's cold?
They're dogs.
Or, all right, perfect example.
How long are you going to keep them outside for?
Speaking of dogs in the city, when you go into Boston, all the time you see dogs with boots on. How do you feel? Because the pavement's hot, so it protects their paws. So it kind of makes sense.
But if the pavement's hot, why are you making the dog walk on it?
They might not have grass. They have to.
I don't know.
We have some serious discussions tonight about this.
Call in what's if you next? Like little doggy Jordans?
Yeah.
I'm sure they have them.
I'm sure they do. They have. Yeah. I don't really know my shoe brands, but they have a lot of styles.
I've seen dogs in rain jackets, like people that have to put a rain jacket and a rain hat on their dog before they put their dog outside. I'm like, the dog is going outside to take a dump. It doesn't need to be fully dressed.
I think it's okay if you have a coated dog, because like my dog, after he goes out in the rain, I have to like blow dry his hair, brush him. I'm just watching your facial expressions. So if it cuts down on grooming time, and then you can play with your dog more after instead of groom them. No, my dog doesn't like to wear clothes. I'm pretty happy about that fact. I'll bring you a nice bandana next week.
She'll usually be all right with the bandana, but
yeah.
the sweaters, the shirts, all that stuff, no. But I did see a video. Casey here shared a video with me of the I forget what they call it, but it's the coyote shirt.
Yeah. I just shared that on my page,
too. This microphone is not working very well for me tonight.
Oh.
Doesn't sound like I'm coming through that well. But yeah, the coyote shirt, so it's designed, and it's not just coyotes.
Yeah.
It's designed
Hawks,
to ward
coyotes.
off any predators. I mean, is that something that you would recommend for pet owners?
I'm still kind of trying to figure that one out. I've been asking people, like, what do you think of this? Because if you live in an area where there's coyotes and there's hawks, but most people's response is, I just wouldn't have my dog like loose by themselves, that I have to put something on them. But I think it's really thought out, and it looks really punk rock. So I kind of like it.
It does, but I mean, my understanding of it is that they're not sharp spikes, but they just appear to be.
Well, I think the material itself is actually like bite proof. I think they did. I mean, to an extent, it's only.
But like, if a dog rolls over and when they're wearing it, they're not going to spike themselves into the ground
really
and be stuck upside down with the
that's not going to happen.
Yeah, and it's just more like, because when predators see an animal with spikes, they know not to go for them, like a porcupine or.
Yeah, exactly. Or you think of like the bugs that are like really crazy looking. They usually don't get bothered, I think.
So, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much they cost. I've just seen the videos. I haven't seen them like for sale or anything.
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
If you've got a small dog, maybe it's a good idea. Because I was teasing my mom the other day. We were at my mom's house, and she has a little tiny dog. I forget what kind it is, like a Pomeranian or something like that. And
how could you forget? That's like your sibling.
I don't know what the dogs are not. There's one dog on the shelf that was the family dog growing up, and then
the heart dog.
Then the rest of the dogs have kind of been like, what's this one's name again? But the dog is a little tiny dog, and he runs around on his runner outside. Well, we're all outside having a barbecue. He's running all around, and I'm thinking to myself, you're easy target for that hawk.
Kind of scary. Was there actually a hawk flying around?
No, but I was thinking of the hawk that got the dog and
I know.
And
Daisy, right?
Yeah, Daisy.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you're an easy target. So I was, well, maybe it's worth getting one of those shirts.
If you're putting them out there and
putting them out there. Well, it's not, the dog's not my mom.
Well, it would be a gift for your mother for the dog. Just a thought.
Maybe. I don't know. But I'll tell you a funny story about the dog off the air too.
Oh gosh.
But it's not appropriate for family shows. But just make sure you keep an eye on the phone in case anybody calls in.
Oh yeah.
We might get some calls.
I hope so.
508-996-0500. I did want to ask you about that. I know you don't want to talk about the bad stuff.
I know.
It seems like every week that you come in here now, there's some sort of bad dog story.
You know what it is? I think you're a new, that's your job. So I'm like, let's talk about the fun stuff.
Yeah,
and you're
I'm
let's get down to the
desensitized to
news.
it. Yeah. But there was the story today of a woman who was walking two pit bull mixes. Yeah. Apparently in Wareham, West Wareham, and the dogs. It looks like we're getting a call. Oh. Now press this. No, the button, the line that's ringing. Nope, that's not the line that's ringing. No, hit the drop button. Hit drop. Nope, drop. That was the line that's ringing. Hit the side. Is it still there?
No, it's gone.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. We'll try again next time. 508-996-0500. We will. Oh, that's probably what the problem was. I think it's the news line that was ringing. Which line is it that's ringing? Does it say news?
The newsroom.
Yeah, then don't touch it. That's not a call. That's not a call for us. That's just.
You know what it is? We need more callers, and then I would be like a pro at this.
That's true. That's just Dirty Deb calling the newsroom.
Oh.
She calls 100 times.
I know. I listen.
So no, but as much as she calls during the day, she calls the newsroom at night.
Well, how come she doesn't call Positive Pets?
Because she doesn't have YouTube.
Oh.
So she doesn't know that we're on.
We'll have to talk
I tell her every week that there is a show, but she's like, I don't have a computer. So I'm like, okay, fine. Nor does she have any pets, but she just loves all the animals.
You don't have to have pets to watch this show.
That's true that you don't.
Right.
So this dog, this person was walking, and these two dogs were unleashed, which in Wareham we do have a leash law, and the two dogs attack this person. And then the woman who owned them acknowledged the fact that the person had gotten attacked, but then walked away with the dogs and didn't help the person.
That's really sad.
It's also very odd.
It is odd.
Who does that? How do you walk away from somebody being seriously injured by your dogs and just leave?
From my understanding, these are some pretty serious injuries this woman has.
Yeah, she's hurt pretty badly.
And that's traumatizing for a person to be, you're out for a walk, you're not expecting that, and to be attacked like that and that badly.
And the dog owner probably has never seen this happen before and thinks, oh, my dogs are fine not on a leash.
Right.
Because they don't attack me. Well, why would they attack you? You're the person that they know and they love. But somebody else is a different story. And I still, always when I was a kid, I thought that a dog should be able to be off a leash.
Right.
Because you see all these TV shows and movies where the guy's walking in the woods and the dog's right by him, and they just walk around and they're best friends, and jumps in the car and gets out of the car with you and all that stuff. But it's not
in day-to-day life. It's a little different.
And it's not just you and the dog that you have to worry about. It's all the other people that are involved. So it's more protection for your dog to keep them on a leash, because then nothing can happen that would endanger your dog. Now these two dogs are probably going to get put down,
which is
so
sad,
when this could have been avoided by the owner just putting them on a leash.
Right, exactly. So, I definitely think it's important to give dogs that off-leash time, like you talked about. That's, what we see in the movies for maybe a reason. Mm-hmm. But give it to them in a controlled environment. Oh, we have a call.
No, hit that and then hit hold real fast. And then when you're ready to push them through, you do it on the other side by pushing that button. You're tied up there. You've got yourself totally tied up. Hold on. Take your headphones off. Untie that part that's over your ear. Oh. See? Yeah, you were going to just yank those out.
I should have just wore these like you did.
when you tried to talk into the microphone.
All right.
All right, now push them through.
Hi, you're on Positive Pets with MJ and Tim.
Yeah, hi. I'm a little confused as to why I'm hearing both Tim Weisberg and the Red Sox at the same time in WBSM.
Oh, no. Tim.
Yes.
You're going over the Red Sox game.
Now I'm not.
I'm not sure what to do about that, but it's a little confusing.
Especially where you're only hearing me and not the rest of the show that we're doing.
Oh, yeah, I was only hearing your voice. But anyway, I'm just letting you know that right now, listening to 1420 AM, I'm hearing two different things.
Well, you should be all set now.
Okay. Hey, thanks, then.
Thank you. Have a good night. Just hit the drop there. Yeah, that was my fault. I put the other microphone.
Like, why is Tim talking about pets and why is this over the game?
No, I thought I counted wrong on the microphones. So I apologize. Nobody else called to complain? Nobody else was listening to the Red Sox?
I know. Well, I mean, our show's pretty good, I think.
That's what it is they're all tuned in to us.
Sorry.
It's all right. I'll hear about that tomorrow. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I'm going to get called into the big boss's office, and they're going to say, hey, from now on,
Positive Pets goes over the game every week. That's it.
They're going to say, if you're going to be doing your WBSM TV stuff, you got to make sure you turn stuff off. I can't believe that's the only call that we got. And Deb is probably listening to the game and didn't bother to tell.
Well, maybe she was trying to call the newsroom.
She did. She called the newsroom.
Oh.
I would have thought she would have said, hey, he's going over the air. And now that I'm not talking over the air, we're getting the beeping sound. So.
Oh.
Oh, well.
Yeah. So before we had the call.
Right. We were talking about.
Off-leash.
Yes, and you were saying it's important to have some of that off-leash time.
Yeah, so it's definitely important to give your dog those opportunities to be off-leash, but you have to find ways to do it that's not putting other people in danger. And even if you think your dog is the greatest dog in the world, they're never going to have an accident like that. You have to be really careful, because even if your dog is friendly and they're not aggressive in the slightest bit, not everybody is comfortable with dogs running up to them, even if the tail is wagging and they're perfectly fine. So giving them off-leash opportunities where it's safe to do so, and you have control of the environment is really important. And I know that's not always easy, but, you know, we have to... No, life isn't easy. We have to figure out ways.
I'm still just impressed that guy knew my voice.
I know.
He's like, oh, that's Tim Weisberg. I know that voice. I'd hear it anywhere. But yeah, that's one of the things that, you know, I've tried to work with my dog, where I try to teach her that if I open the door, I mean, we're lucky that she's never been a bolter. Like, as soon as the door is open, she doesn't run out. She
seems kind of like laid, like she would just kind of like to be laying around. She's pretty laid back.
She does.
She doesn't want to run away.
She does take off.
Yeah.
If she's outside and she gets off of her runner, she'll run around.
Yeah.
And it'll take a while to get her to come back. And she loves, you know, she thinks you're playing with her, so she just keeps running. But, you know, we're lucky that she would never be one of those dogs that as soon as the door opens, she would bolt.
Right. And you trained for that, right? It wasn't just...
No, she came that way.
Oh, all
well, I mean, when we got her when she was already a year and a half old. So.
But you said you work with her, like do you practice opening the door?
I do. I will open the door, and sometimes I'll make her walk out to get the runner put on outside instead of putting it on at the door.
Right.
You know, little things like that. And I've tried like going to the car or going to put trash out and telling her to come out and stay next to me. And for the most part, it works. But, you know, once in a while, she takes off.
Yeah, so that's good.
It's almost like she just wants to do it once in a while to remind me that she still can.
Yeah, right.
But the one thing I can just never get her to stop doing is jumping on the couch. And she's sneaky about it.
Are we revisiting this?
She does it again.
Should we go? Do you want to go through? I mean, should we talk about training process?
Well, we only have a couple minutes left, so we can save it for another time. But like,
we're gonna have to do some lessons. You got to bring her in.
If you are smart enough to know not to run, and to stay when I tell you to stay outside, then you know when I tell you to not go on the couch.
Oh, it's not a problem of intelligence at all.
It's a problem of
she knows exactly what she's doing.
Yeah, she's sticking it to me. So now, anyway, luckily for her, she's not a city dog, because if she was, somebody would probably just be done with her after the first day, because she wants to go out every 10 minutes.
Oh.
Especially this time of year when, you know, right now
nice,
we have a lot of hornets. Oh. And all the hornets are like trying to find places to nest, so they're flying all over my backyard.
Oh, goodness.
And so as they are flying around, you know, we open the door to let her out. A hornet comes in inevitably every time.
Of course.
So it's like, you're not going to come
It's almost like they're working together and planning this.
I wouldn't be surprised. She knows I hate hornets.
Oh, yeah.
That's my thing. No
that's
hornets,
your thing.
no bees, none of that stuff. So
I think they're pretty cute, but that's just me.
That's definitely just you. They're ugly, hideous things that have no purpose.
They do have a purpose. I have a documentary.
Hornets and wasps have a purpose?
Yes, but I was thinking more of bees.
Oh, yeah, no, bees. Yeah. I understand bees. Yeah. No, I'm talking hornets and wasps. Bees I can deal with. You know, yellow jackets are...
They're
at the
a little
line.
more aggressive.
Yeah, they're at the line. And then, you know, regular hornets and wasps, forget it. So we are just about out of time. Let everybody know how they can reach out to you during the week.
Yeah, you can reach me at MJ's Pet Training Academy, and the best phone number is 855-465-7782, or just hop on social media and follow our pages. We're on Facebook and Instagram and all of those. Visit mjspettrainingacademy.com, and you can kind of get the rundown of all the places that we can be found.
All right. So you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, stay positive. I'm MJ, and this is Positive Pets with MJ.